Thank you very much, Randy. We begin the broadcast today with a question that comes up so often on the show, and that has to do with Genesis chapter 6. In my creation answer book, I actually deal with this question, and again, I do so because it's something that I'm finding out over time is fairly persuasively communicated in Christian circles, and it is fairly pervasive as well. This whole idea from, I think, a very faulty reading of Genesis chapter 6, that the sons of God were fallen angels or demons who cohabited with women and had offspring. And I've suggested many times on the Bible Answer Man broadcast that this is an interjection of pagan mythology on a biblical worldview. And the reason I say this, and I point this out in my entry in the Creation Answer book, is that the notion that demons can produce real bodies and have real sex with real women would first and foremost invalidate Jesus' argument for the authenticity of his resurrection. Now, Jesus, of course, assured his disciples that a ghost or a spirit does not have flesh and bones as you see I have. If indeed a demon could produce flesh and bones, the argument of Christ would not only be flawed, but it would be misleading. In fact, it might be logically argued that the disciples did not see the post-resurrection appearances of Christ, but rather a demon masquerading as the resurrected Christ. That's my first objection, but I have others. Demons are non-sexual, non-physical beings, and therefore they are incapable of having sexual relations and producing physical offspring. To say that demons can create bodies with DNA and fertile sperm is to say that demons have creative power, which is an exclusively divine prerogative. Moreover, if demons could have sex with women in ancient times, we'd have no assurance that they could not do so in modern times. And for that matter, we would have no guarantee that the people we encounter every day are fully human. So while a biblical worldview does allow for fallen angels to possess unsaved human beings, it does not support the notion that a demon-possessed person can produce offspring that are part demon, part human. Why? Because Genesis 1 makes it clear that all of God's living creations are designed to reproduce according to their own kinds. One final point, and that is the mutant theory creates serious questions pertaining to the spiritual accountability of these hypothetical demon humans and their relation to humanity's redemption. We have no biblical way of determining what category the demon humans would fit into and whether they would be judged as angels or as men, or more significantly, whether they might even be among those for whom Christ died. So the idea, as I've said before, is an interjection of pagan mythology on a biblical worldview, and it's all because people do not recognize that words and phrases don't always have to mean the exact same thing. The context determines the meaning. And the most apt way of illustrating that is the word God. The word God is applied to Satan. And yet we know that though the Bible uses the word God with respect to Satan, as in the God of this world, it in no way suggests that Satan is God from the standpoint of his ontology. Indeed, God creates, Satan is but a creation of God. The Bible also uses the word God with respect to humans. In other words, there are men said to be gods in the Scripture, and the meaning, of course, is not, again, that they are by nature God. The meaning is that they are God's representatives to the people. So we always have to look at context to determine the meaning of a word or a phrase. And obviously, the context in Genesis chapter 6 is judgment on humanity, not on some hybrid between demons and humans. So again, this is part and parcel of learning to read the Bible for all it's worth. And if we don't know how to do that aptly, we will come up with all kinds of nonsense in terms of what we communicate. In fact, even worse, we'll start communicating that which is directly opposed to a Christian worldview, all the while intending to be thoroughly Christian and missing the meaning of doing just that.